Like every city, Nairobi is a heaven on earth if you do have money and worsens as you get broke, but I figured this might not be your major concern, so I'll stick to factors like security, weather and cost, standard of living. I've stayed in Nairobi for 6 years now and I can confess that pickpockets are just too notorious. You have to be very aware of your small valuables like phones, majorly, watches and anything else that shouts "am worth stealing" as you maneuver crowded streets. Early 2018, the situation had escalated to daylight robbery, but the government was swift to take action. However, not all places in the city are such. Residential, I cannot give my word for the slums, and the uptown are safe. Traffic is also a big deal. As much as the government is working to improve roads by increasing the number of highways, it just doesn't get any better. So if you have a very important meeting in the CBD and you intend to get there by road, I suggest you start your journey 2 hours earlier. Traffic congestion however eases as the day advances, as in, there is less traffic in the afternoons compared to mornings and evenings. Nairobi's weather does not get extreme, it usually lies between cold in the rainy season and hot when it's sunny. A lot of rains however affects the city and some places may end up experiencing floods, usually mild. As for the cost of living, it caters for everyone, because how much you spend depends on where you live and do your shopping. For instance, grocery could go for up to 3 times the standard cost in the high-end residential areas. But for a minimum $505, you get a good balanced meal for a day. The main challenge for any Nairobian that doesn't own a house is rent. I can say housing is quite expensive. A good neighborhood and a good house for the lowest rent will cost you about $18,180 a month excluding water, waste and electricity bills. Houses do not come furnished. Such a house is self-contained with 2 bedrooms. You can also get a house for as low as $1,616, but the houses themselves explain real good why they're that cheap. How is life in Nairobi? I can only answer this question from my perspective. It might not represent a general view and people might have differing opinions. The good. Mobile data and voice calls are cheap. A study has shown Kenya to be the second cheapest mobile telephone operator in Africa as shown here. The second mobile phone operator by market share, Airtel, sparked a price war back in August 2010, and it drove prices down to as low as 0.03 US cents per minute. Kenya has the 14th fastest data speeds in the world, and 4G coverage is quite extensive. All major urban spots are covered. People are, anecdotally, quite amiable, tolerant, smiling, inveterate optimists and always willing to lend a hand. It is a different story when there are politically charged events around election time. Cuisine, although all major foreign cuisines can be found here, Lebanese, Turkish, Spanish etc. You should also try local cuisines. It is rich, varied and delectable. I am sure Mark Zuckerberg would agree. The weather is very stable, with no discernible seasons like in the West. Our seasons are divided: rainy seasons, April and October, and dry seasons. The rains don't always follow that pattern. The bad. Traffic is horrendous. It is so bad that people are forced to plan their day around traffic jams. Want to meet a friend across the city? No sir. The vibrant second-hand car import market, averaging 5 to 6 cars per month, has stretched the infrastructure to the limits. In fact, Nairobi is ranked the 4th worst city in the world to be in as a commuter. I dare say the previously mentioned amiable people turn to monsters on the road. Road courtesy is thrown out of the window. Driving around is not for the faint-hearted. The road infrastructure, though, is being expanded with ring roads. Nairobi is my current home. It has been for the last 4 years after I graduated from campus. It is the capital of Kenya and rightly reflects our diversity. I have in almost all the corners of the city, which makes me believe I can answer this question even better than natives. Traffic is a major concern, but if you like driving, you can call it a blessing. Driving in Nairobi is like hunting in a jungle. You just don't know what to expect, you just have to be ready. Go with flow, watch out for a reckless matatu driver, don't pay much attention for traffic lights and just don't knock your fellow driver from the side. If this does not offer you the thrill, simply drive during wee hours of the night, and enjoy our great roads. Nairobi is mainly divided into Eastlands and Westlands. Eastlands is the poorer side, but has its unique sources of fun and adventure. But as a foreigner, you will feel much safer and comfortable in the western part. I always feel that Kenya can deliver much better propaganda than North Korea if visitors were only allowed to visit Westlands. There are UN blue zones, practically all the biggest malls, better roads with lesser traffic. Also, great diversity of restaurants and more than decent entertainment centers. Westlands is alive and awake 24/7, and Nairobians generously indulge. Rental prices are decent, and away from the UN-designated blue zones, one can get a decent two-bedroomed house for around $300 k $30,000. Food is cheap, even cheaper and healthier if you cook yourself, as Nairobi receives a steady supply of fresh farm products. I mentioned matatus earlier, they are our public service vehicles. They deserve a special mention, because Nairobi has a rich matatu culture. Our matatus are so souped up, and full of energy and life. Just do a simple Google search of matatu culture and you will understand what I mean. But if you prefer cabs, Uber and Co are fairly cheap and convenient. Nairobi is as well as central place with generally good weather, no extremes. Central because it gives you a great entry point for the rest of Kenya, and as a Kenyan, I know we are a great and magical country, which unfortunately, I have not experienced enough.